When seeking content for this show, I take the obvious avenues. Flea markets, thrift stores. Sometimes I luck out and find tapes on the side of the road. I must say, I'm probably at a disadvantage living in this city, where the market for obscure VHS is saturated, as strange as that sounds. Sure, there are plenty of tapes, but more often than not you're stuck with the same Disney clamshells over and over. Or something like Titanic or Jurassic Park, something that sold millions of copies. Now, I've said this before, but I have very little interest in owning these sorts of movies on VHS, and while I try to present content of a certain character, not every tape I buy can be used for an episode. Now, that isn't to say they're not interesting, and so, in this final Media Lost of 2017, we're going to be taking a look at some of my less obscure finds.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose.
The first tape we're going to be taking a look at is Unforgettable, a self-described visual biography of the life and times of Nat King Cole. Cole was one of the most influential artists of the 20th century. While he was a highly skilled pianist, he's probably best remembered for his voice, and this documentary traces his life and rise as one of the most successful entertainers in America, overcoming racial barriers and bigotry. He was the first person of color to break into mainstream American media, and a large part of this documentary is focused on the discrimination he faced, his resilience and patience in the face of racism. He's remembered warmly by loved ones as well as contemporaries, people like Oscar Peterson, Harry Belafonte, and Frank Sinatra. My favorite thing about this tape is probably the amount of archival footage it has. We get to see appearances Cole made on early television, as well as family home movies. And Private and Public were presented with a moving portrait of one of the most enduring voices of all time.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Falling leaves drift by the window. I'll live a lush life in some small dime dreams.
He's getting thin, he can't drink a gin. Teeth are falling out, his hair's all fuzzed. He's slipping fast, he just can't last.
No, he ain't the man he used to was.
No, he ain't the man he used to was.
Next up, we have a compilation of cartoons released by Star Classics. They were a distributor known mainly for releasing low-budget exploitation films and material from the public domain. Collections like these were everywhere when I was growing up because the copyrights expired. Anyone can profit off these cartoons. Keep an eye on this channel. Like many, these were my introduction to the work of artists like the Fleischers and Tex Avery, and while I love them now, as a child they scared the shit out of me. There are 4 shorts included here, but the sleeve highlights Mickey Mouse co-creator a Iwerks adaptation of Old Mother Hubbard. The animation is top-notch, but because these collections were released to make a quick buck, no effort was put into restoring or preserving these cartoons. As such, the quality is terrible. One can hope that with the recent release and popularity of Cuphead, that interest will be renewed in these cartoons and they'll finally get the treatment they deserve.
You better spell it if you want to save your skin. So you won't talk, eh? Well, we'll squeeze it out of you. Turn on the juice, boys. That's it, boys. Put on the pressure. You'll talk.
Crack down on him, boys.
So you're a tough egg, eh? We'll soften you. We'll crack you wide open.
Trying the old shell game, eh? Fry, see? You'll fry.
Our workout starts with 10 warm-ups. We'll be holding our breath for a count of 8, and when we do positions, we'll do 3 reps on each side. Let's begin.
Our third entry takes place at that awkward time between decades, the overlap, when the 90s still fully embraced the aesthetics of the 1980s. Greer Childers is a fixture of the infomercial circuit. She is perhaps best known for her workout series Body Flex, which utilizes a technique she calls aerobic breathing. The philosophy behind this is that during cardiovascular exercise, it's the deep breathing that burns the fat, not the body movement. Childers claimed that you could lose weight without diet or heavy exercise. She promised amazing results simply by combining this technique with light calisthenics 15 minutes a day. Now, I've never done this program, so I can't speak to its legitimacy. I've read several testimonials of people who swear by it. However, in 2003, the FTC sued Greer Childers for false advertising, and several customers reported issues receiving refunds for the program, claiming it didn't work as marketed. This was settled out of court the following year.
I never said it was easy. I just said it worked. Anybody that says it's easy has never done this program. But for we who want fast results in the least amount of time, living the most normal kind of life, Body Flex, a one-time process that lasts an entire lifetime.
Well, Dick, the game's not for 3.5 hours. What do you want to do?
I got the movie listings here. There's a double feature Kung Fu movies. Are you interested?
Sorry, I saw those last night.
Yeah, that figures. Tell you what, do you know where the Fox Theater is?
Do I know where the Fox? Are you kidding? Everybody in Toronto knows where the Fox Theater is. Beautiful.
There's something playing there right now I think we'll both enjoy. Take my word for it. Let's go.
Sounds great.
And finally we have the Top 50 Playoff Goals, hosted by Dick Irvin and Ron McLean. This countdown chronicles some of the most important moments in Stanley Cup history. Now maybe this makes me a bad Canadian, but I don't really follow hockey, though I can appreciate the cultural significance of many of these moments. Like the Nat King Cole documentary, this tape has a wealth of archival footage. The clips used span 4 decades, from the time of production in 1992 all the way back to 1953, when the playoffs were first televised. While I don't really care for sports, I think you can trace my interest in old media right back to these sorts of tapes. In 2001 I bought a collection of sports bloopers from a yard sale. It was the first time I remember noticing the style and character of the production. There was a timestamp on it, a feel I would always associate with the early 90s. It gave me a different lens, a new way of looking at my own time. This fascinated me, the idea that the present is dated to future eyes. I've created a series that explores the context of dated and disposable content, knowing full well it is exactly that I'm creating. I hope you have enjoyed this trip into the past, and please check out one of the other videos in this series. And by all means, subscribe. I'm Brian Clark. Thanks for watching.